Hi, and thanks for joining us for our first episode here on Plants, Pets, and Piano. I'll be sharing with you three of my greatest joys. I'm a music teacher, so I love to sing, dance, and play, and our house is full of animals. We have a tortoise, we have a rabbit, and we have worms for composting, and we have all different variety of indoor and outdoor plants that I'd love to share with you. Some tips, some tricks, and some insight into my life. So today, let's get started with how do you repot a plant? For materials, you're going to need pots with holes in the bottom to let the water drain, a spray bottle, a spoon, and some gloves. I'm going to use a McDonald's cup to create a pot for today. I really run out pretty frequently of things to put my plants in just because I have so many of them. So I go through my recycling and I try to find creative ways of upcycling old materials I've used. So this is washed out and it's clean. You can use scissors or a box cutter and be a little more careful than I am here, cutting around the very bottom. When you are done, one of the most common ways that your houseplants die is you're overwatering them and causing root rot. So in order to make that less likely to happen, put some holes in the bottom to allow that water to drain out. And voila! You have yourself a new little pot to use. It's not always as simple as just sticking dirt in a pot. Make sure you know what the plant you are potting likes to live in. Today's plants love moisture, so we're going to do a mixture of peat moss with organic potting soil. The peat moss helps to keep the moisture in and not wash out nutrients when you're watering. Today's plants I all got from a really neat store in the East Village of Des Moines called Petals Plus Moss. We have the bush on fire, or the Croton petra, the purple wandering Jew, the Hoya carrii, or the sweetheart plant, the Peperomia caparata, the white fusion calathea, the Maranta, otherwise known as the prayer plant, the tricolor Hoya carnosa, and last but not least, one of my favorites, the Monstera adzonii. So, once you have all your materials out, I'm going to use the Monstera as our example for today. It's really important you put gloves on or some kind of a barrier, as your skin absorbs everything that you touch, and soil has a lot of microbiomes and things that we don't always want our skin interacting with. I'm going to put just a light layer of that peat moss and soil combination, make sure that the full bottom is covered, and then usually I'm going to make sure it's kind of moistened and sprayed a few times so that I can put some soil along the sides to pad. Then I'm going to lightly just kind of circle that pot back and forth to break the dirt off of the old pot. Then I'm going to take the bottom, I'm going to grasp it and lightly take it off. Make sure you do not pull at the stem at all. It should just come right off. And those roots are circling and growing, so we need to break them up a little bit so that when they go in their new home, they're encouraged to find a new path. So just lightly kind of pulling at the roots, getting some excess dirt off. And once you think that's looking good, and they're ready to roll, you just lightly are going to stick her inside that new home. And once you find a comfy spot and it looks good in there, you're going to take that spoon, or if you have fancy gardening tools, which I, after all these years, still don't, I'm just going to use my spoon and carefully add that extra layer of peat moss and soil to kind of fill in the edges. And for me, I was terrified of replanting pots when I first got them. My first couple plants probably sat in their plastic containers for a good couple months until I pulled out the good old YouTube and learned from other people that knew what they were doing. And once your plant is all good and full of its soil, give it a good spray. Help everything to settle down inside. And the final and last touch that you're going to do once it's nice and soggy is you're just going to give it a good old little blow and get that extra dirt off so that you don't bring it inside. Now you have some new happy potted plants. They need to find homes with proper sunlight. The most common kind of sunlight you're going to ask for is bright indirect light. And that for me means putting it in the corners or sides of windows so they get lots of bright light but they're not directly absorbed in the sun. I also have a rabbit, like I mentioned, so everything has to be high and kept away, including some fun hanging features that we've made, which I intend to do a video on how you can make some of your own later. Smudge and I love to read and continue learning about new things, and we want to know what you want to learn about as well, so let us know in the comments below. Until then, thanks for tuning in and see you next time on Plants, Pets, and Piano.